Welcome to the Fab Female Nutrition Podcast, episode 154. Hey there, I'm your host Wendy Hill, and I'm a nutritional therapist and expert in female hormone health. I specialise in helping women gain confidence and understanding their bodies, allowing them to shine. This podcast allows me to share the knowledge I've built up, along with bringing you guest experts to support you in your journey. Hey everybody, how are you doing this week? I hope you are having a lovely summer and enjoying yourselves. I love kind of the summer holidays. It's a time for me to kind of relax, get prepped for the rest of the year. It's quite a quiet time for me, nutritionally wise. So I do take a bit of time to work on the business, and I've got some exciting things happening kind of September time. So stay tuned to hear all about it. Not telling you anything about it yet because I want you to come back and listen to the podcast every week. So this week we have got a bit of a solo episode. And last week I chatted to Zane from London Nootropics, and they have adaptogenic coffee blends. If you haven't heard it, go back and have a listen to it. But we were talking about kind of how adaptogens and coffee can help with different energy and things. And it made me really think about what do clients ask me, and how can I give you maybe a little bit of a tip, some advice and stuff based on the questions that I get asked or the problems that crop up in my clinic consistently. And I have to say that energy or lack of it is one of the top kind of issues, shall we say, that clients have. I always ask clients to give me 2 to 3 kind of goals that they've got, and often to have more energy or to feel less tired, which is the same thing really, is one of the key things. And this week I want to kind of change the way you think about your body a little bit. I want you to kind of think about your body like a machine. So whether it's a robot or a computer or a car, and if your body was a machine, are you getting optimal performance from your machine? So for me, I'm thinking it's a car. How do I optimize the performance of this car? And if I've got, a car, you're like a Ferrari, or you're an Aston Martin, or a Rolls Royce, whatever car you want to be, a Porsche, a nice classic Porsche 911 Carrera, maybe, whatever car you might be. Mine's a little Fiat 500R Bath, but I can pretend that I'm a Porsche. How would you get the most out of that machine? What would you do? So you would make sure that it goes for a regular service. You would make sure that you put the correct fuel in it. You would make sure that you change gear at the right time, that you're not constantly revving that engine and not changing gear. And this is what I want you to think about this week, is the fuel that you are putting in that machine, whatever that machine might be, to get the optimum performance out of it. But think about your body as being a machine. What would you, if you had a robot that ate food, what would you give it to make it perform properly, to give it the ultimate brain function, to allow it to work for 12, 14 hours a day, to make sure that it could do 10,000 steps a day, it could lift the weight that you wanted to do, whatever it might be that you want, that you ask of your body. If it was a machine, what would you give it to say, well, I know it can do that. It can deal with taking the kids to school. It can deal with getting them up, getting them organized, getting the packed lunch, getting them to school, then coming home, then doing 4 hours work, having some, making time for lunch, getting everything done so I can go back and pick them up, whatever it might be that you need to do, cleaning the house, doing the washing, the ironing, blah, 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 blah. Our lives are so bloody busy. But what would you give that robot if it was eating the same food as you do? Would you give it what you currently eat and expect it to perform to its optimum? That's what I want you to really think about this week. I genuinely think that the starting the day right is really key to this. The first thing that the first meal, the first fuel that you give your body is critical to how you are going to work for the rest of the day. And if you start that process right, then you set yourself in a really good place to be able to continue with those better decisions. Whereas if you start your day on the back foot with something that isn't really fueling you properly, it might get the result that you need for a very small amount of time, but isn't really refilling those reserves, then you are constantly kind of topping them. It's a bit like my husband's got an electric car. And if we're kind of, it does like 200 something miles, let's say. And if we go on a longer journey, we really try to stop at one of these kind of high powered recharging units. And if we can't find one, we might go to like a superstore, like a supermarket, and they often have these little refueling pods, but they're not very high powered. So we might stop there and do a bit of shopping and, visit the loo, maybe get a drink or something, and we give it like an hour. But all that really does is give it a tiny little bit of energy. And so then when we kind of driving again, then we have to kind of like turn the radio off, turn the heating off, the air conditioning off, like drive really carefully, quite slowly, and so to conserve that energy. Because if we go off normally, then we're going to run out of fuel. And it's the same kind of thing where if you're not properly recharging your battery each time you eat, all you're doing is a little drip feed. So then what we do is we go 20, 30, 40 miles down the road and we have to stop again and do another hour charge. But actually, it's only given us another 20, 30 miles. Whereas if we stop at a proper charging station and we get those real high powered ones full of all the vitamins and minerals that we need, then it fully recharges the battery and we can do 250 miles on it again. I think as a nutritionist, it's very easy for us to say, oh, we'll just eat a healthy diet. And it's a very kind of throwaway comment, eat healthier food. Well, what does that actually mean? Because lots of people associate healthier food with rabbit food. Like, I don't like salads. I hear that from clients all the time. I don't like salads and I don't like healthy food. And you're like, oh, actually, come on, that's not true. To say to me, I don't like healthy food is not, in most cases, it's not really true. It doesn't really have to be like that. Make some changes. Think about what would be more energy appropriate. So if your normal breakfast would be a cup of coffee and toast with jam, how about just saying a cup of coffee with toast, peanut butter, and some sliced bananas on it? That's not too much of a change, is it? And then could you have a glass of water before you have your cup of coffee? And then what about lunchtime? If you normally have a ham sandwich on white bread, could you have a ham salad sandwich on granary bread? Could you swap your packet of crisps for an apple? Could you swap your chocolate bar for maybe a raw dark chocolate bar with some nuts and some seeds? Because you know that there are no nutrients in white bread, or limited nutrients. You know that chocolate bar is not giving you the raw ingredients that you need to power your machine. So why are you expecting your body to perform optimally when you know that the food that you are giving it, the fuel that you are giving it, is not providing any of the nutrients that it needs, any of the energy? And it is amazing how these small changes make a difference. And it is about changing your mindset into actually thinking about what that is doing, that thing that you are about to eat or drink. Is it actually giving you any goodness? And that's not to say that you can't have food that you enjoy that is nutritionally deficient. I'm not saying that at all. I like a glass of wine. I like a beer. That. I like a chocolate every now and again. Whatever it might be that you enjoy, I'm not saying you shouldn't have it. But what I'm saying is if that's all you have, or if that's a predominance of the fuel that you are putting in your body, is it any wonder that you are tired? Because you are not giving that wonderful, complex machine that is our body, you're not giving it all the nutrients that it needs. So, like I said, I hope you stuck with me, and I hope it made sense. I really do. And I'd love to know, please do. I always love to hear from you. I love it when you guys drop me a DM, either on Facebook or Instagram. So on Facebook, I am HillStart Nutrition, and on Instagram, it's Fab Female Nutrition. So same name as a podcast. Do come and tell me what you think of the episode. Did it make sense? Am I talking to you on your level? Because ultimately, that's what I want to do. Is I want every single episode for you to listen and take something away that is going to help you on your journey to improved health and well-being. I want you to get things out of these podcast episodes. That is enough talking from me today. My question for you this week, tell me, is how are you going to fuel your body today? Which ultimately is, what have you got for tea? But tell me, what are you doing to fuel your body better? Thank you so much for listening, guys. I really, really do appreciate it. And I am back next week, and I have a wonderful interview with the lovely Beth Ann from Hot Tea Mama. So last week we were talking about coffee or adaptogens, but it was kind of coffee. And next week we're going to be talking all about tea. So it's all about the beverages at the moment. But next week I'm talking to Beth Ann from Hot Tea Mama. Great episode. Absolutely loved chatting to her. So do tune in next week. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching this excerpt of this week's Fab Female Nutrition podcast. If you'd like to listen to the full episode, then the link is in the notes below.